Hey everybody, welcome back to Burn the Ship. Our goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. Thank you for coming, first of
Sure.
all. Our goal is to find people for the podcast that have walked the walk and talked the talk and been through all of those, experiences as an entrepreneur that we go through that are both challenging and fulfilling. And hopefully, we get to learn a couple of things from you that we can teach to some people that are interested about it. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your business, kind of tell us what you do.
My name's Camille Wright-Felton. My business is photography. My business name is Category 5 Photography. I specialize in headshots and personal branding for business people, entrepreneurs, anyone really who needs a headshot or images that they need to use on their website or their social media sites. And that's about anybody these days. Well, with social media, everybody has a website, everybody's got a blog, they've got something they need a good headshot for.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a story. Tell me how you kind of got started doing what you're doing and kind of how you built your business out of it.
I started doing photography as a hobby. Growing up, I'd always had cameras. My dad got me cameras all the while I was growing up. I started taking a lot of photographs after I had kids. I did it more as a hobby. I decided at one point that if I was going to invest in a camera, I wanted to learn best how to use it. I took classes at Emory University's evening program. I took classes at what used to be called Showcase School of Photography. It's now Atlanta School of Photography. I ended up getting a digital photography certificate from Emory. I did landscapes. I used to take road trips around the southeast, doing just taking pictures of monuments, of nature, of shorelines. I've got a photo up at the international terminal in at Hartsfield.
Oh, wow.
I had a friend at work. My day job is in news.
Oh,
I had a
nice.
friend at work invited me along with her to cover a story. She was doing some coverage of a story at Zoo Atlanta, and I took some pictures for that. She told another colleague of ours that I could take photographs for her. My colleague was looking for a headshot for a dating profile. I'd never actually done that, but I figured why not? I'd taken some pictures of just general pictures of people, but I went ahead and took the headshots for her, and the session turned out well. It worked out for her, and it turned out to be something that I was interested in. I did research on it, like I researched everything. I went online to find out more about headshots and whether that was a viable business. And it turned out that it is. I found kind of found a style that I like to do, and it kind of took off from there. I decided to start probably 8 or 9 years ago. I started up a business. I ended up getting laid off from my day job, and I tried to make a go of photography. It didn't work out as well as I needed it to at the time. When my kids were younger, I couldn't really put as much time into it as I needed to. I ended up setting it aside, going back to news. But recently, within the last year or so, I decided I wanted to get back into it, and I kind of learned a few things along the way the first time around that helped me set up my business a little bit better this time, and it seems to be working
Absolutely.
out better for me.
So, where do you get, like, how would you describe some of the people that you're working with? Like, where do you meet them? Where do you find those people?
Some people I've recently photographed a couple of colleagues. One gentleman I used to work with, he's no longer with the company that I work with, and he's looking for another opportunity. And he knew I did photographs. I have another. I've had a couple of people find me online through Google search. I met another gentleman at the Cobb Chamber of Commerce event. Online, in person, I do a few networking events. I've met a couple of clients that way. So I'm pretty much trying, to get my name out there and meeting different people. I also volunteer with a group called Portraits for Patriots,
Oh, nice.
where I do headshots for veterans who are getting ready to come out of the military, and they're getting everything together so they can transition to a civilian career.
Oh, nice. That is very, very unique. Well, tell me, kind of as you're getting your business started now and kind of that 2.0 phase, what do you feel is like your most important skill that has kind of lent you to some success early on in this journey at this point?
I think it, like I said, my main job, my main career has been television news, and that's writing and telling stories. And my tagline for my business is, you know your story, I can help you tell it. Taking pictures, especially for branding, it's a matter of capturing what people want to tell their audience. And not everybody feels like they're capable of it. They realize that they need help doing it. My goal is to capture the way a person thinks that they look in order to help them tell their story. Some people, for their jobs, they need to kind of radiate confidence. They want to be generally approachable. For people who need branding services, they want to catch people's attention with what they do and how they do things. And the way I approach that is to kind of take their pictures, in a way that tells their story, in a way that gets their point or their product across the way they feel comfortable telling it.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And people know their story, and you helping them tell that is kind of similar to what we do on Burn the Ship. Do you feel like you're working with more people from a business perspective, or people that need it for personal reasons, or is it kind of a mixture of both of those things?
It's a mixture of those things. I think part of capturing somebody for a headshot is capturing their personality and kind of applying it to whatever work it is they do. So when I photograph someone, I'll ask them either at the session or ahead of time. I want to know what it is they do for a living, what kinds of things, if they're changing careers, what they used to do, what they would like to get into. For instance, the veterans I work with, they may do something in the Army, say they're infantry officers, and they want to get into, let's say, finance. So there's a certain way they've done things while they're in the Army that's going to be, it's not necessarily going to translate to finance, but the thing that needs to translate is them, their personality, and their skills. So I'm trying to help them capture that in order to capture it in a picture, so it will, any potential employer who may be scanning through LinkedIn will stop and say, this person looks like the kind of person that I want to work with. And aside from, well, for now, people are the ones doing the hiring. AI might take over in the future, but for right now, people are doing it, and people want to be able to relate to other people. They want to relate to the person they see in a picture.
Yeah.
And my job is to help the person looking for a job relate to the person looking for an employee.
Sure. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. What have you found to be difficult? What skills did you need day one that you didn't know you needed, and you're trying to kind of add those to your tool bag? Or what have you learned from? What have you found difficult?
My main thing is just anything related to business. I never saw myself, growing up, I never saw myself as having a business, kind of being an entrepreneur. My father had a business. He was a police officer. His side business was real estate. So he was a definite salesman. I didn't see myself as being a salesperson. I still kind of have trouble with it, but I'm getting better at it. I had a woman I met recently, Lakeisha Wiggins. She's a local realtor. I was in a networking group. We were doing some kind of, masterminding things we want to do for our business. And I kept saying, oh, I'm not good at sales. I'm not a good salesperson. And she stopped me and said, you have to stop saying that. You have to believe that you can do it and have the mindset that even if you don't know how to do it, that you are capable of learning how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of, again, I said I research a lot of things. I kind of look into how I can sell things, how I can speak to people, not necessarily in a salesy way, but in a way that helps people want to work with me.
Absolutely.
And that's the main thing I'm having to learn how to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really what you're doing is you're bringing value to people. You know what I mean? And that's a good way to think about it is whether it's through your main service or product, or it's through some auxiliary thing. Maybe you're connecting people to other people in your network or whatever that may be. Really finding a way to be valuable to those people in different in unique ways is probably the best way to set yourself apart from anybody else that may be rendering a service similar to the way that you're rendering them. So I can relate to that as well. And it is definitely learned behavior. Both the networking piece and the sales piece is both learned behavior. But you'll get used to it. You'll definitely get used to kind of delivering that message with some conviction and knowing the value that you bring for people. Have you gotten any like testimonials or anything like that? Have you had some feedback from people that you've worked with?
Yes, I have. I've gotten quite a few good Google reviews, which is really, I mean, I know that I'm good at photography. I know that I know my job well, but to have somebody say that it was a great experience, that they loved the photographs, and that they're willing to kind of tell the world that, that's a it's a great feeling. It's helpful, so I can point and say, you might, I understand you might have some questions about working with me. Here's some other people who've worked with me before, and you can see the experience that they've had. I also had a woman that I photographed who she's had kind of a tough time over the last couple of years. She was in the hospital for a while. She's starting up her own business. And I did photographs for her, and she started crying, which I was not expecting because I've known her for a little bit, and she's a very happy and outgoing person. But she had been struggling with anxiety and kind of worries about how she looked since she had been sick. And she said that working with me and having me take her photographs, that she realized that she was still beautiful,
Yeah.
which is something that surprised me and I was really touched by. But
Oh, yeah. It's super powerful words.
yeah, and if I can make people realize that they look better than they think. I think a lot of people come in and they feel like they're not photogenic or they don't take good pictures. I always tell them that's not the case. You just haven't had the right photographer.
Mm-hmm.
I spend time, I take classes and again, watch YouTube tutorials and go to workshops so I can learn my skills better and learn how to interact with people in order to get the best expressions out of them so they understand how the world sees them.
Yeah, absolutely. How unique, with how unique every single one of your clients are, how unique are each of your photography sessions? Are you always using different backdrops? Are you always kind of taking pictures in a different place depending on kind of the mood? Like, what is really what goes through your mind whenever you're deciding what solution you should kind of implement for a specific person you may be working with?
I have a definite style that I use. When I was researching how to do what kind of photography, what kind of headshot photography specifically I wanted to do, I ran across photos by a guy named Peter Hurley. He's a celebrity photographer. He's known around the world, and he teaches people how to shoot in his style. I liked his style. I wanted to learn how to do that. I just went to a class with him here in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to go to another workshop in a few months. The community that he's built, we all learn how to shoot the way he shoots. I just happen to like the way it is. It reminds me of the work I've done in television, the lighting and how to capture things that way. And I think that's the best way to do it. I think that's, you want the photos to be well lit. You want people to be able to see your eyes, to see your expression. So I shoot a certain way. I shoot that way all the time. The difference comes with the person and what their personality is. Now I can change out backdrops. I can change out, I don't always change it. I stick with the same kind of lighting because I think consistency is a way to build a reputation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for headshots, I stick with the same formula. I probably say the same things. There's a certain order in the way I do things, but that's so I have my process down so I can concentrate on the person and relating to the person in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Now, for brand headshot or for branding photography, I approach it the way I approached an art project I used to do. I would take photographs of artists in their studios. And I just wanted to capture, don't take a lot of equipment. I just take my camera and take photographs of what they do. I want to see how they work, where they work. So when I do branding, I want to go to their place of business. If they meet clients in a coffee shop, then I want to go to a coffee shop and take pictures with them there. Because people want to see, if they're considering hiring somebody, they want to know what it is they do, where they're going to go when they meet this person so they feel comfortable.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think that's the one thing where there's a lot of variety is the branding because everybody's business, everybody's job is different. So they have a different place to do it.
The way you execute is very consistent.
Yes, very consistent and very specific.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So how do people find you? If they want to buy something from you, if they want to pick your brain about something, where do they find you at?
My website is category5photography.com. That's the number 5. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at category5photo. Let's see, I'm also on Pinterest at Category 5 Photo.
Nice.
And my email is info@category5photography.com.
Nice. And so kind of the way that we always end the podcast here, and It's kind of an open-ended question for you because obviously you're in a place of your life where you're juggling things and trying to commit more into the photography side of things, and that's a place that I think a lot of entrepreneurs relate to, is that trying to transition into or really not even transition, just trying to understand the balance between what you're doing in your everyday life and what you're doing with your business. What does it feel like to commit to being a business owner? What does it feel like to burn the ship? What does it feel like to kind of to make this something that is important in your life? What type of fulfillment and what type of emotions have you experienced from that?
It's definitely scary, especially when I was trying to make that my main source of income. Because I have a family. There's people that I can't let down, that I don't want to let down. It's not so much of a matter of being afraid of failing at something. Sometimes things just don't work out. That's just the way it is. You have to kind of take a look at what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. Find new ways of doing things. But I think it's satisfying when things work out the way that you hoped or better than you hoped. It's also satisfying to know that taking a chance on something, whether it's joining a networking group if you're not used to speaking in front of people, and having that turn out results the way you want, meeting new people that can teach you new things, that's all interesting and satisfying. But yeah, it's definitely scary saying that I'm a business owner. It's still
Yeah.
still a little strange saying it, but yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cool place that you are in your business right now, where you can look at it, because the amount of feedback that you have is small. You know what I mean? And it's going to grow with the more customers, the more time you spend talking about your business, and the way that you describe your business is going to evolve and change over time. And I just think it's really, really unique. That situation that you're in right now is one that you'll really only be in once.
Right.
Because even if you decide to do a different business in a completely different industry, you'll take all of the things that you've learned from exactly what you're going through right now and use that in a way that propels you towards success in your next venture, should that be kind of what you do. So the learning, that there's a good saying that I've heard a couple of times, like you pay for your education one way or another, right? So like it can be very expensive being in the business world, or you can go to school and learn all the things. And I think in your industry, you get a little bit of both of those things. You pay for your schooling when it comes to learning exactly how to execute that style that you want to execute and know things technologically inside and out. And then you pay for having to learn the business side of things too.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So, no, where you are is really, really cool. And I hope to do this again. I hope to do it again in the future, and sit back and have a drink and laugh about how far you've come in your business, and how far your brand has propelled and grown. And no, I think it's really, really cool. The opportunity to capture, especially from my end where you are right now, is very, very cool. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast. So if you have anything else that you want to leave the viewers and the listeners with, please feel free. The platform is yours. But I think that's all I've got. I think we've got a pretty good snapshot of where you are in your business, and I think I understand a little bit more about you as a person. And hopefully there are some people within my network that I can connect you to that keep your entrepreneurship dream moving forward and growing. And I look forward to knowing you for a long time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Till next time, burn the ship.